The American Civil War started in 1861 and lasted until 1865. It was a war within the United States fought between the Confederate and Union states. The Confederate states were in the South and Union in the North. The line was drawn right above Arkansas, Tennessee, and Virginia. Although causes of the Civil War are still being unfolded, there are three main causes that everyone should know. The first main cause was unfair taxation. Unfair taxation happened when factories were being built in the North while cotton was being planted and grown in the South. The Southerners relied on slave labor for economic success. They would ship the cotton to Europe, and Europe would ship back manufactured goods for cheap. Then Northern factories were able to make the same manufactured goods as Europe. Northern politicians put heavy taxes on Europe's imported goods, so the Southerners were forced to buy from the Northern states. The Southerners were not happy about the taxing. The second main cause was states' rights. The Southerners didn't like that the federal government could pass laws such as the taxing law. They thought they were being treated unfairly and believed that any state should be able to separate from the United States and form their own country. The states in the North thought that would just make the United States a weaker country. The third main cause was slavery. The United States, also known as Northern states, were opposed to slavery. They didn't believe that one could own another while the Southern states looked to slaves as their property. They believed they owned their slaves and that the federal government wasn't doing a good enough job to keep the slaves from running away from their masters. The Southerners also didn't like the fact that more and more states were joining the Union states, which was weakening the Southern states' reasoning behind slavery. The Civil War soldiers consisted of young men, usually under 21 years old. There were over 600,000 fatalities because of battle wounds and disease. Women had to take over their husbands' businesses and plantations while they went to fight in the war. Sometimes women would dress up as men in order to help fight in battles, but often worked as nurses in hospitals or as spies. After the Civil War ended with a Union victory, slavery was abolished in 1865, but many slaves were let free right after the war. The Southern economy declined because of crops being destroyed. The South was placed under military control and had to apply to get back into the Union. Inflation decreased the value of the dollar, and since the Northerners won, that left the Southerners with a bitter feeling, which is why they started groups such as the Ku Klux Klan. After the Civil War, it took 12 years of Reconstruction for the United States to pull back together. The U.S. Constitution was amended 3 times in order to assist in abolishing slavery.